Okay, so today I researched technology in the music classroom. The reason why I researched this is because I was interested in the topic basically because technology is something that we should be talking about. Technology is always changing for teachers, and I'm curious to see what kind of technologies will be introduced when I become a teacher. I remember in high school using technology was like super easy, but now it's getting harder and harder because new things are changing. I know in the past, even as a kid, like having a computer and a phone was like the first thing ever, so it was like crazy. But the fact that in the music classroom the teachers are actually using like computers and phones to do things to students is something I think we should definitely pay attention to. Basically, what questions spurred me to investigate this topic was I went to the ILMEA conference last year with my mom, and there was one session I attended, and this teacher talked about how in the classroom she has all her students at Mac desktop computers, and they use the keyboard, and that makes sounds. So if they were to spell out their name, if I were to spell my name, LACEY, they would make all different sounds and pitches. So basically this helped kids work with rhythms, so they could use like one letter in their name, like say L, play it in different kinds of rhythms, and then you would hear the actual sounds. So this was basically a way of using it without instruments. I don't think this teacher planned on using this concept throughout the entire year with these kids, but these kids were also in second grade. So it started off kids younger, so I definitely think that was something really interesting for me. So that's why I think I got into the history of this topic. So basically my main focus was to learn more about how technology was developed over time to get where we are today. That's why I researched it, and I was also curious for the future reference when I hopefully become a teacher. Basically, music started off as reading music and producing sound using hands or instruments. We never really talked about technology in that way. My mom even said, she's like, yeah, we just played our instruments. There's nothing ever, to talk about besides that. You didn't have the computer. Even back in the 1800s, they just had their voices. That's all you really used. And it's kind of weird because, you can use technology now to even help you in the actual, classroom. In my group voice class, he's like, look up these videos on YouTube. Okay, think about that, 30 years ago, you wouldn't be able to do that. You'd have to find, a record of some sort to do that. So it's just crazy how that's changing. You can find so many resources just using the internet or anything like that. One thing also they talked about in a lot of articles I read was the use of, smart boards in classrooms, because those are becoming a lot more hands-on. Kids can actually touch them or do things on them, draw on them, but also can play music. So in grade school, she would play our concert music on the smart board through the speakers, and that was a way of us knowing what the heck our sound sounded like. So it's crazy how you could do that now, but back then it was kind of just oh, you just play it and that's how you know what it sounds like. So it's really different. So that's why I think it's crazy how things are changing. Teaching's even becoming more technological, just as a teacher, not just the students. You're using more of your computer to show things. Teachers are having to become more technological, even though they are from the era where they really weren't. There's obviously disadvantages and advantages of having technology in a classroom. We all know that. We've all talked about it. Very controversial. I don't really think I need to go into that, but I think it's definitely something that we need to pay attention to as a future educator, not even as music, just as any kind of educator. But basically, it's just something that I think is still going to be an issue even when I graduate, hopefully in 2022. Things may change, so I'm not really exactly sure what's going to happen, but I know teaching is definitely something I am proud to be doing, but I just know technology is something that I will forever be struggling with because it's so confusing. Also, another thing before I wrap it up, one article talked about the synthesizer. So a lot of high school bands are using synthesizers in their field shows. If you don't know what a synthesizer is, basically a keyboard, and it makes sounds, kind of I talked about at the conference with the kids on the desktop computers. Same idea. So this is basically just all technology. That has nothing to do with playing an instrument using your breath. It's really just pressing a button and making a sound. So something like that is becoming a lot more popular, especially in smaller schools, small rural communities are using that more often now too. Basically, it's just the fact that technology is always changing, and that's just how it is. Music's changing, teachers have to change. We have to just catch up to the world. So who knows what will happen in the future for music educators, but I know technology will always be there. So whatever happens, it just happens. We gotta go with it. And that's it.